Hello and welcome to our second series of Praktani Prerna. I am Ritesh Chaturvedi, 1995 alum of Ramakrishna Mission. As you know, Prerna is one of the series we started a couple of months back, where we, invite non-alum professionals from different fields so that they can share their knowledge, wisdom, and experience with our Vidyapit Praktani. Couple of months back, our first session was on financial planning. And now, today, we have Anil Kumar. He's a doctorate and he's a robotics and AI enthusiast. And this session will be moderated by our own Anupam Sengupta, who is an alum from 1999. So I will hand over this to Anupam for the introduction, and then Atal can take it over. During the session, if you have any queries or questions, you can type it in the chat box. Anupam will take it from there. And over to you, Anupam.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Riteshda. So it's my great pleasure to welcome Professor Dr. Atal Anil Kumar for these special sessions. So Atal till very recently was my own colleague here at the Faculty of Science, Technology and Medicine here at University of Luxembourg. And thereafter he took up a professorship at the University of Lorraine, not too far from Luxembourg, incidentally. And that's also where Atal did his doctoral studies. So when you look at some of the big problems that our society, our earth, even as a community that we face, these problems are very interdisciplinary in nature. And I think Atal is one of those rare, let's say, scientists who understands those problems, but also has the right set of skills because he has worked across disciplines and gathered, if I may say, all different skill sets to tackle such problems of great societal importance. So I think what Atal will tell us today directly relates to some of the big sustainability related problems, but the way he addresses those is through fundamental science, bottom-up approaches. And on the way, Atal will also enlighten us about how, especially for our younger students and participants, these skills could be adopted as well as acquired, either over short time scale or over longer career perspectives. And although Atal is quite a scientist at heart, he's also heading very promising and already quite an active startup, which he will definitely talk about. But upon tweaking him a bit deeper, he confessed that his real passion is in cooking. So his dream still remains that one day he will start up his own restaurant. And I hope I would be able to join the restaurant and maybe also have the opportunity to give you a hand in cooking a few dishes here and there. So Atal, I would not take any more of your time. It's a pleasure to have you in our Vidyapit community, and we are all ears to hear from you, and we will take it from there. And as Riteshda said, any questions, please put them up in the chat box. So looking forward to a very engaging session today. Thank you.
Thank you, Anupam. Thank you, Ritesh, for this, I would say, introduction about me. And I hope that I will be able to deliver at least a bit of information that I have. So today's presentation is more about the growing trends of robotics and impact of artificial intelligence in this rapidly advancing field. So for the first 10-15 minutes, I'd like to give a brief introduction about me, about my education, my work experiences, and what am I currently working on, and a bit about my startup as well. Following this, I have gone through some of the recently published reports from big giants who have given some forecasts about the rising trends in robotics and how one can equip oneself to match the competition that is being generated all around the world. So I have a background in mechatronics from Shastra University in India, where I did my Bachelor's of Technology. That was inspired by the decision that I didn't want to learn only mechanical or only electronics. So I wanted to know a bit such that I can switch if I wanted in future. After this, I have a double master's in advanced robotics from École Centrale Nantes. It's kind of the IITs in India, so from France. And I did also the second master's from University of Genova in Italy. As Anupam Da said, my PhD was in robotics and control from University of Lorraine in France. And then I was able to work as a postdoc or a research scientist in the Department of Engineering with focus on manufacturing systems at University of Luxembourg. And from 2025, I am working at University of Lorraine in the Laboratory of Design, Fabrication and Control as a tenure track full professor. And if things are fine from 2027 beginning, I will again join University of Luxembourg, where I'll be heading the Advanced Manufacturing Research Group. So after my bachelor's as a young engineer, I wanted to get some hands-on experience where I worked with TVS Wheels India Limited in Chennai as a research and development engineer to understand what it takes to develop a prototype, to test a prototype, and to see how effectively it can be put in an on-site project. After this, I also got the chance to work as a junior manager in the mechanical engineering department at Salem, where I was able to get a bit more hands-on about the automation technologies and how, when things are put together, they work so efficiently well. So this is where I decided that no, I wanted to learn more. I wanted to understand how the systems work effectively, and that's when I came for my master's. My master's exposure in France and Italy generated in me a bit more curiosity to do a PhD. But I wanted to be sure if I wanted to continue my line in a research institute or as an academician where I can teach students, because that is something which I also love. So I also worked briefly in as an assistant professor in India, teaching robotics and automation engineering for the students. So this has been my professional experience throughout my career till now. So my PhD, I just wanted to show what I built. So what you see on screen is called as a cable-driven parallel robot. The research and development in this particular topic started since only like last 20 years. So people know it, but it's still not very well known. So a cable-driven parallel robot is just an alteration of a parallel robot where you see on the screen, you have a platform. The platform moves in a specific designed environment, and it can be used for transporting goods, for handling things, for assembly tasks, and so on. So what you see, the video of it is something which I built from scratch. So this was something which I loved a lot, where I did the mechanical design, I did the electronics integration, implemented the hardcore coding, C++, and then implement it in real time. And now what we see here is something that we are working on. So we have currently 3 to 4 prototypes of it in our laboratory, where we are addressing different challenges related to robotics, related to control systems, embedded systems, artificial intelligence, and so on. So the different themes that I've worked on till now. So I started with industrial robotics. The presentation today will also be more focusing on the topic of industrial robotics, where I'm working with different types of robots for addressing tasks such as pick and place, assembly, gluing. During my time as postdoc, I also started interacting a bit more with immersive technologies. So this is more taken as an inspiration from the gaming systems, where we were able to use virtual reality and augmented reality to interact and to program the robots in a much more easier way. And this is where I started implementing more on artificial intelligence algorithms. So we started using sensors for retrofitting legacy machines or new machines and identifying data patterns that was being generated. So for this particular step, I interacted with quite a lot of industries in and around Luxembourg. Now, as a professor in Lorraine, I am again back to the 3 normal themes which I have always been working on. The first is the cable-driven parallel robots, where we are exploring the use of such robots in precision farming in greenhouse plant monitoring, and also a bit on the hydroponics and aquaponics side. The second topics which I'm still invested deeply is in industrial robotics, where we are trying to use deformable object manipulation, which is still a very, very big problem in the field of industrial robots. And one where because of the increase in the use of collaborative robots in the market, human-robot collaboration is something that will always be experimented upon for the next 10 to 15 years for sure. So as Anupam Das said, I co-founded a company which is called as Scrap Traceability Systems, which is a deep tech startup where you can see it is the first national AI residue waste analysis. We are collaborating with the Environment Ministry in Luxembourg and other agencies where, as you can see on the screen, we have a camera. The camera is mounted on a conveyor belt. So these are sorting lines where we have to see or we have to analyze what the product, if the product being sorted is right or wrong, if it is in the right line or not, because currently this is something which the system is not able to identify, as a result of which they have to continue doing this at least 2 to 3 times. So by this, we are able to increase the usability of the system. We are able to give them a decision-making capacity which they can modify their parameters across various lines. So what we have foreseen is, so last year we were able to develop a revenue of 150K with an expected revenue of around 500,000 euros this year. And hopefully next year we'll reach 1.5 million. So we have 2 co-founders and there are currently 7 people full-time working with us. These are all students whom I have taught during my time at University of Luxembourg. So now moving to the topic of robotics and impact of AI. So I'm not going to cover what is a robot and other things which I think almost all of you know. But there are certain topics which people are still not acknowledging or not understanding, that if they are able to upskill themselves in these domains, then for the next 15 to 20 years, it's not only for the mid-level workers, but also for the young graduates, they will be able to achieve quite a lot in these fields. So again, starting with numbers is always useful. Following COVID, you can see that there is almost 7% increase in the annual installation of industrial robots around the world. So COVID brought a sense of understanding in several industries that they have to find out alternative ways. And till then, the boom of robots was not very high, but after that, as you can see, it's growing on. This is also seen in the operational stock of industrial robots around the world, where following 2020, there is again an increase in 11% till now, with the forecast to go up to plus or minus 20% in the next 5 years. So why and which field is causing this thing? So again, following COVID, automotive industry has started going down, but the electrical and electronics industry, followed by metal and machinery, and more importantly, food processing and handling, they have started realizing the importance of industrial robots, and that has started gaining momentum. This is also supported by the rise in the growth of collaborative robots, where robots work together with human workers in achieving the desired targets. Now, the giants in the market of industrial robots. So you can see China, they are way ahead than all the other countries, but India is not behind. It's just 6th place behind Germany. However, the growth level, if you can see, is quite high in India, followed by China. This annual installation is also supported by the operational stock increase, where again 43% is there in China, as a result of which they are able to hold the market in industrial robotics. India is growing, but not growing as much as we would like it to. But it's not a disheartening news. From 2020, which were where the annual installation of industrial robots was around 3,200 units, now it has grown up to 9,123 units. Which means that for those who want to start working on or who want to get into the field of industrial robots, the time is now, and you will definitely be able to get a lot of opportunities in this. And even though automotive sector has reduced worldwide. In India, this is in growth because we still have a lot of regulations and restrictions with electrical, electronics, and food. But there is a rise in the number of automotive sectors that has been incorporated in India. So the growth driver for industrial robotics in India is the automotive industry, and the growth forecast is again plus 20-25%. Now, coming to the topic of humanoids, it's just one slide. I'm not going to go deeper. The reason is it's still in the preliminary stages. We can see videos of robots dancing. We can see videos of humanoids working together with some of the workers, but there is still no massive use of robots today. One of the major reason is it is very, very expensive. So the manufacturers are still building humanoid robots for R&D purposes, but it will still take a long time to incorporate those in the industrial sector. So it's also good to know or keep ourselves updated with the trend that is being seen in the market. So I have seen the trends for the last 10 years, where I'm showing only 2 years for now. So last year, the trend was more for physical, analytic, and generative AI, along with the other uses. So physical AI is the AI where you use or whatever you develop respects the laws of physics. Analytic AI is where you use sensors for predicting, for forecasting, and for diagnosing some things. And generative AI is what everybody is familiar with now. ChatGPT, Microsoft Copilot, Cloud, all those things. This year, the trend has shifted to AI and autonomy in robots. More specifically, people are scrambling their team to form or to focus on the topic of physical AI, which I have covered towards the end of my topic. Because if you are interested to work in the field of robotics and industrial robotics more particularly, physical AI will be the biggest seller for the next 20 years without doubt. How AI is accelerating the next wave of robotics? Again, this is based on the data that has been collected worldwide, with particular domains focusing on computer vision, natural language processing, reinforcement learning, sensor fusion, and generative AI. So earlier, robots were considered to be just as machines where you finish the programming and they are not able to adapt themselves to learn new things. But with AI and the advancement of sensor technologies, we are able to achieve the level of autonomy, or we aim to achieve the level of autonomy that will give a robot a sense of thinking. We'll see in what way it can be done or in what way it can be established. So I went through the World Economic Forum report, which was published last year, where based on the market demand, the advancements in different sectors, the need for job is going to raise in 2 sectors, as you can see, that is highlighted in red. So artificial intelligence and information processing technologies, robots and autonomous systems. They are going to be in demand for at least the next 10 to 15 years in any sectors you're going to work on. We'll see sector-wise analysis also down the lane. But any company who is willing to incorporate this in their specific production line or manufacturing line, the biggest barrier that they are facing is skill gaps. Even though there are people and there are artificial intelligence enthusiasts, they are not sufficiently skilled to implement them in their actually functioning manufacturing line. So as you can see, by 2030, so they have forecasted that the demand is expected to grow for roles such as security management specialists, digital transformation specialists, and software developers. But the jobs that are going to be repetitive, material recording, stock keeping, etc., are projected to decline. So in this, can we start doing AI now? Is it really worth? I think the figure speaks for itself. Yes, it is definitely high time to start working on these things. It is not important for you or for us to understand what or how the algorithms work, but it is very important to do or to understand how we can use them in our life or in our career to improve our skill set. So I also did an analysis for the startup markets that are existing in the world using artificial intelligence and robotics. So as you can see, based on just last year, there has been growth of at least 30% in the startups, with top five country hubs being in USA, India, UK, Japan, and China. And Bangalore is one of the biggest hub for AI-powered robotics. For those who are working in the field of robotics, Boston Dynamics is something which you are very familiar with. Apart from that, the big players are BDC Capital, SoftBank, and Samsung, who are investing heavily in startups for addressing different solutions. So even a startup idea is not bad, more given the numbers that you're seeing online. So what particular topic would be interested if you're going to combine artificial intelligence with robotics? So human robot interaction is going to be something which you cannot avoid because of specific customer demands with low numbers needed to be produced. Big robots are going to be replaced by smaller robots where they can collaborate with human workers. And it is very much important to achieve a level of safety for human robot interaction. The next is also teleportation, where people sitting in US can check and can operate robots that are working in any other manufacturing line away from that place. And the number of companies that are also working or that have also started developing solutions in these domains are growing. From the funding, the company distribution across various funding stages are also shown. So self-funded companies are less, whereas early stage company investments is quite on the rise, more focusing on these topics. So again, if numbers are going to speak, and I think we will believe when the big level experts speak. So this is what we have. The convergence of advanced sensors and AI will increase robotic autonomy by more than 60%. From a survey by Stanford, 72% of enterprises using AI agents, they are achieving business process efficiency gains. And it is for sure given by MIT that AI-powered agents could automate 80% of coding tasks, which we already can see now. So you don't need to specifically sit and do the coding. There is cloud. With cloud coding, you just tell it, it will achieve the coding. And I have already tested. You can do even 3D design by just typing, I want to draw a box of this dimension, and the box is done. I want to place a ball on top of the box. It is automatically done. So there are certain number of tasks, or there are certain types of tasks which will definitely be replaced completely by AI, but how to use it and when to use it is going to be the most important point to discuss. Again, now this will be something for students who are starting their bachelor's or master's, and for mid-level professionals. 5 years down the lane, where you see yourself. So this is something which is always being asked. So the core skills in 2030 is AI and big data. But most important of all, as an academician and researcher, I see the other points: technological literacy, creative thinking, analytical thinking, resilience, flexibility, and agility. So even though AI and big data is going to grow, but there will be a core skill needed in technological literacy, analytical thinking, and creative thinking. And if you see on the bottom left, manual dexterity, endurance, and precision. This is still something which is out of focus skill, which means for those who are shifting towards the core skills or emerging skills, there will be more opportunities. And for those who are in the out of focus skills, the opportunities will start getting dried up. So the current capacity for substitution. So we have a lot of layoffs being there. We every day we see in news, this sector is getting laid off. 1 lakh jobs to be laid off by, I think, Volkswagen. Meta laid off overnight. So I also try to get data about the specific sectors where the replacement by generative AI is possible. The last three, if you can see: manual dexterity, endurance, and precision; empathy, active listening; sensory processing abilities. These are three sectors where replacement by generative AI is quite nearly impossible. Whereas for those who are working with the other skill set, more artificial intelligence and big data, down the lane, there will not be a need for those who are working on developing these fields, rather on just implementation of these fields. Programming, again, very high chances of being replaced by generative AI. Technological literacy, it's not very high, but at least 40%. So from my side, or from my point of view, what I see is the level of intelligence that a human worker has, with its endurance and precision, and the most important of all, sensory processing abilities. This will be something that if we upskill, we will be able to work together with the AI technologies that are in the market. Again, coming down to the topic on India. So the technology trends that is driving business transformation. So even though I am staying in Europe, I try to follow the news in India, because at some point of time, I was also thinking of having a startup or shifting a branch of from my startup here to India. And what they are focusing on, again, the top two is artificial intelligence, information processing, robots, and autonomous system. The rest of the things are there, but the biggest drivers are still artificial intelligence, robots, and autonomous system. And if the roles that are being searched by the companies for the next 5 years, it's AI, machine learning specialists, data analytics, and scientists. Assembly and factory workers who are working in industries are starting to, the dependence on these kind of factory workers is going down, but it's understandable with increase in robots, this starts getting impacted. So the current market analysis that World Economic Forum has released is, so the core skills for 2025 is analytical thinking, resilience, AI, and big data. This will switch by the end of 2030. So the focus will be more on AI and big data, technological literacy, and creative thinking. So this is again and again the point that I would like to stress, even for my students and for the others whenever I'm interacting. AI is there in every place. You don't need to start from scratch to do AI, but you should definitely upskill yourself to know how to use AI in the efficient way and also lead to your sustainable use of it. So the next change, so I think the trend now, if you are in manufacturing sector, every day everybody speaks about this physical AI, physical AI, physical AI. And if you see the numbers, it's approximately 430 billion euros by 2030, which means we know that there will be a very big level of investment. But what is physical AI? So initially I had said that physical AI is implementation of artificial intelligence respecting the laws of physics. So physical AI lets autonomous systems, cameras, robots, self-driving cars, and any machine to perceive, understand, reason, and perform complex actions in the physical world. So this is something that is missing at a very large scale with robotics today. We can train them, we can code them, we can help them do everything under laboratory setting. This was also something which I experienced when we built our first prototype for the startup. So the video that you saw on the screen, the conveyor belt moves at a speed of around 2 meters per second, and we had to give the analysis almost in real time. If we are taking time in doing the analysis afterwards, the company is not really happy with it. So you can implement even the best code of artificial intelligence, but if it is not able to work at the time when they need it, then it's not going to be an attractive solution. So now the giants of manufacturing industries, robotics, and artificial intelligence, they have started working together on this particular topic, and this will be the wave on which all the big people are going to play. So based on the report from Capgemini, they have already interviewed big executives, almost I think 2,000 people all around the world, and they think that 70% or majority of them still think that physical AI will be the game changer for their industry. So what makes it the game changer thing is they can use their existing machine by incorporating this intelligence in such a way where it changes from rigid pre-programmed tools to adaptive context-aware collaborators. So now the focus goes from pre-programmed to context awareness. No matter what machine you have, I'm saying machine here, even though my focus is more on the industrial robot. So a machine should be capable of understanding its environment, perceive its environment, and take decision without being interrupted by a human worker. So this will be also a critical driver for competitiveness in most of the manufacturing industry sector. So is it valuable? Is it going to be useful? Based on the numbers that has already been checked and tested, they believe that for sure it is going to increase their productivity. It is going to make them cost efficient, because cost is going to be one of the driving factor for their competitiveness, the quality, resilience, and safety. So just to give an example of a human worker with a humanoid robot, if a humanoid robot comes with its full physical AI capacity. So the biggest advantage first is it is able to process sensor data at a very high speed, almost close to human intelligence, sensing beyond human ranges. So we will be able to incorporate invisible spectra, which is not accessible to humans. And the most important topic of all, again, precision at scale. So these are still things that are not being seen or that are not being incorporated in the robots at a larger scale these days. So again, coming to the topic of physical AI, which sector? Suppose I'm working in automotive sector. I think it's easy to say, yes, physical AI is going to play a big role. But maybe for those who are working in the sector of telecommunication, insurance, public services, it's not going to play a big role. But the major applications such as high tech, industrial manufacturing, aerospace, defense, logistics, healthcare, these are going to have a big impact. And based on the response from the executives in India, we can see that almost 70% of the people believe that physical AI is going to be the demand for next 5 to 10 years. And again, on the basis of the reports that I have seen, what is lacking for physical AI? Technological readiness challenges. Many researchers, including me, we have developed solutions that work at a lab level. I'm taking it to an actual system. There is a lot of problem. So this is something where the scope is there for researchers, for engineers, and for scientists. The cost. So cost will always be a big driving factor, because we have to see the return on investment, and we are not yet sure whether it will actually give the needed return on investment. And the most important of all, with aging population and aging worker groups, the lack of internal expertise and difficulty in finding skilled talent is still considered to be a big barrier for implementing physical AI. So if you want to start with physical AI, how can I do what to do? So this is a very generic diagram where the first step is actually to understand what is physical AI. Physical AI doesn't have to be always with robots, but obviously it will have AI in it. So you can have any machine sensors with physical AI. Start with a very simple use case to build familiarity and confidence, to understand what is physical AI, how it works, what is the speed, whether it is actually reproducible, scalable. Then it is better to explore, redesign the workflow, and then scale through a platform approach. So I will give you some links, show you some links which definitely will help you in improving your understanding about physical AI. So the last is one small message is upskilling is the way to go. No matter what domain you're working in, these are some platforms where artificial intelligence courses, robotics courses, and how to combine artificial intelligence with robots are offered free of cost for anybody who wants to learn. And I think, yeah, so this is what I wanted to show. Thank you.
Thank you, Atal, for this extremely, I would say, timely topic that you have touched upon. And thanks for taking us through your personal journey, which is quite an exciting culmination of interdisciplinary science, but also combining your aptitude for industrial needs with quest for academic research. So I think it's a very nice combination that you have put together. So maybe just to get the discussions going, I would like to maybe ask one of the first things when I was, listening about your trajectory. You started off as an undergraduate student in mechatronics. You spent some time in industry. You went for your master's. Then you stayed in academia, put your hands into creating your startup. So what I see is there has been an evolution of your career, which is not something we often see, let's say, in Indian context, because more or less you start off with, oh, I want to be an engineer, doctor, blah, blah. Things are changing, of course, lately. How was it for you growing up? Because when you were growing up, you studied in India at the time. What kind of career goals you had, and how did things finally evolve for you?
For the question, this is also something some of my other friends or colleagues ask. I wanted to be an Air Force pilot.
There we go. Yeah.
I cleared it. Put yourself good, but my mom was a bit senti about me joining NDA, so then I decided, okay, I will do engineering. No, I wanted to do maths, BSc in mathematics, because I love maths.
I don't know which is more a taboo, NDA or maths. Yeah.
So I wanted to do maths, but then again, at that time, pressure. Maths करके क्या करेगा? Then I said, okay, let me do engineering, but I will do engineering of my choice. I don't want to be mechanical. I don't want to be electrical. I will see something different. And I had read that down the lane, with increase in technologies, a core mechanical or core electrical engineer would have some issues. So I thought, okay, let me see a mix of korma of everything. So I took mechatronics for that. I really enjoyed it. I loved doing that course. And then when I started my work as a bachelor, this was also the question that I faced in interview in SAIL, because government agencies that time didn't have any specific positions for mechatronics. They didn't have. They were like, तुमने mechatronics किया, तुम mechanical में क्या करोगे? So the answer was, okay, if there is a breakdown, you need to have an electronics engineer, you need to have a mechanical engineer, and two of them have to address it. But I believe that with my skill set, I can address it. So this was the point. And when government jobs, there are some plus minus with that, and there were some things when then I decided, I want to
But
learn.
government job is a very sought after job. Like you are peaceful for rest of your life.
Yeah, but it's difficult when you are passionate about something. Bosses always right becomes quite challenging.
Yes.
My mom works in defense, so I did come to know about a lot of things. So when I started in sale, I got good experience, but I wanted to learn more. Again, there was at that time a lot of people wanting to go to Germany. This was the trend. In 2011, many people, my friends, they all went to US. Most of them went to then Singapore and Germany. If you're mechanical and automotive. Then
I'm one of those.
Then I said, no, I want to do something different. Let me choose France. I heard that France is a romantic country, it's good wine, language, and all those things. And again, I got the opportunity to do a double masters. So I said, "Chalo le lete hain, dekhte hain kya hoga." Because for me, it was not for job. Again, clearly, I didn't want to leave the job in sale to do a master's to get, or a job was not in my mind. I wanted to learn. That has been the driving factor always, even today. So when I learned and I saw that robotics is so good, then again, I got positions on programming. I said I didn't want to do programming, I wanted to build. So all this time, I know that, the biggest strength for me was my parents. They said, okay, we support you, you do, because they were astonished that I was leaving a job, at least a proper settled job. They were astonished that, okay, I'm not going to take up a job after my master's. Rather, I want to do a PhD. Why? What will you do after PhD? So this is how it changed.
Yeah.
And one thing that always kept me driving is to learn. अगर कल मुझे कोई एक कोर्स ऑफर करेगा, which is interesting, because I knew nothing about AI. I didn't want to do masters. I didn't want to come abroad, but things happened.
Yeah.
So that's how it has been.
So I think what it boils down to is having that curiosity about new topics and being open to also taking up challenges. So, and of course, the trust and support of parents is of very high importance. Great. Maybe now, are there any questions from our audience? Do I see any messages, any questions? Okay, I don't see any. So maybe we just continue a bit more. Whenever we talk about AI, one of the first things which the critics of AI bring about is job losses. And I think you have very nicely, I even noted down the slide numbers, I think between slide numbers 22 and 28, you have broken it down very nicely. What are the potential sectors where job losses will occur, and to what percentage some of this offset could be balanced by new opportunities? So let's say in the context of Indian, let's say, schooling system and let's say undergraduate studies, how would you maybe, if you have a word of suggestion for our young audience, what would be the topics or how could they strategize their career within the scope of which subject they could study, which subject they could pick up, keeping this offset of job loss plus opportunities of AI in mind?
So as I said during the presentation, nowadays you are not expected to do or develop a code for a model.
Correct.
It's available online.
Yeah.
What you're supposed to know is how to use it, when to use it, and for what use cases. So this
is
where
that
the
the
competition.
technological literacy?
Yes.
Yeah.
So this is what I was going to stress, because I have a lot of students who say they are using AI, but when we are discussing why did you use it, no answer.
Yeah.
And at master's level, this is not good. It's unexpected. And I'm also surprised to see several PhD students doing this as well.
Mhm.
So for those who want to start in AI or ML now, you need not understand the core level of programming involved in it, but you have to know how to use it, with what will be the best way of using it, and the career aspect of it. Something which will never go or which will never be replaced by AI is building. So to make hands-on, build systems with expertise from core backgrounds like mechanical, electronics, and civil. So that was also shown in one slide, that the manual dexterity and the sensory capacity, that is something which AI can never have.
Yeah.
It can give you all wrong suggestions. You will know it the hard way. So this is where you will start building your skill set.
That's a very important point, and especially in today's world where a lot of things are getting virtual. Kids are happier being at home watching video games than going out. So I think there's a significant value in what you say. But what about the humanoids? You said we have kind of a 30-year lead time before maybe humanoids start to come up. Do you think humanoids could replace human dexterity?
Dexterity, okay, so robotics started from around 1940s. But the first industrial robot came in 1967, which is by Stanford. Even after 65 years of development, different types of robots, there is still not one robot hand, which could work as efficiently as a human hand. So the human dexterity that we are all worried about, if a humanoid will have, the answer is no. It will still take quite some time to reach that level because of the complexity that human hands have. But they will be able to develop the humanoids in such a way that some of the tasks that they will easily replace.
Yeah. There are some very funny videos about training a humanoid to put clothes in the washing machine. And you just get impatient and think, why don't I just do it myself?
Yes.
But on the other hand, there are companies which are paying volunteers to just do repetitive tasks, especially in, let's say, textile mills in China or other countries. I do not know which country it was in, where they videograph all steps of knitting, of, let's say, cleaning, so that these can be trained. What's your take on this? Is it realistic?
Yes, it's happening even in India,
Even in
where
India,
they are paying
yes.
300 rupees per hour, where the garbage picking person is wearing the camera, is taking. So to some extent, the robot can replicate the motion.
Yes.
But the end effector of the robot, which is the hand, it still doesn't have that level of dexterity that is needed. And the challenging part here is, so we can handle an egg, we can handle a cotton candy, we can also handle a cloth.
The haptic aspect.
The haptic aspect, but that is still lacking in a robot hand. So in industries where suppose I have to make a small product and then I have to change the size of the product, it's not so easily possible now, at least for the next few years, to do that. And the next part is whatever videos that is being shown are videos that are at still very preliminary level. The humanoid robot research has been going on since quite a long time, but it is only last year or the year before they were able to make a robot that could do a flip.
Right.
So it's with that perception that I have that, okay, research will be there. They may have some use cases, but not something that can be deployed in industry.
Yeah. So maybe something on a more personal note. I have Ritesh sitting next to me. He is at a very senior director level of the bank here in Luxembourg. I am a faculty member at the University of Luxembourg. Let's say 20 years down the line, such positions in the context of AI, to what extent these will be getting automated? I found there was a note about teaching profession. So I saw the impact was marginal. But still, this is a question which I keep facing. How would the future of teaching look like? And by extension, I would also like to hear about, let's say, banking and finance, and especially at the leadership roles like we have Ritesh in.
This is something that I think will be regulated strongly by the policies at big level. So EU AI Act is there, where they have to make their employees aware that for these things they are using AI, for these things they are not using AI. And teaching, if you can see, will be impacted severely as well, because I'm also teaching in both places. So I can see students being not interested when we are teaching them something. They're asking AI straight away the solutions. But that is where the challenge comes for us. We have to evolve ourselves in a way where we test that the student has the fundamental knowledge of the subject. I don't teach a lot in robot programming because I know that they know how a robot programming can be done from online. But I teach the maths behind it and what is inside a robot. This is still something that nobody knows because it's a black box. They use ChatGPT, they say do this. But what happens when you're doing this is going to play a big role. And one interesting fact which I found about teaching was in Sweden, they are going back to paper and pen.
Indeed.
So I teach programming, I teach robot programming, but my evaluation is based on a multiple choice question paper on paper. You should be able to do analytical thinking. I know that you can do the programming. I don't want to evaluate on that. So that will be the challenge for us as teachers to evaluate the students.
Yes. Let me quickly see if there are other comments. Maybe I have another question on that line. So, recently our Honorable Prime Minister Modi ji was in France. There is a growing and very, let's say, significant relationship, also scientific exchange between India and France happening. You are in France now. So this whole Atmanirbhar Bharat, this mission, to what extent AI is part of the, let's say, this drive, this mission? What fraction of this, let's say, if it would be successful or not, to what extent AI and robotics would be part of this?
So I did some digging yesterday and the last week. I was surprised to see that India started AI drive quite long ago. So in 2019, certain policies were already incorporated in Indian government scheme for incorporating AI and robotics amongst the students and for the manufacturing industries, with sufficient support being provided for startups and scaling up industries. So in that regard, I see India as a land of opportunity. Still, we will have some issues more with, I would say, the pay scale and those parts. But I can see a lot of companies and industries trying to shift their base to India.
So could India become a leader in future in these areas?
There are certain things where Indians have solutions which are not easily accessible in other parts of the world. And the biggest advantage is the 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 cost of it. The cost of what is being developed in India is way much less than what is being developed in Germany or in Italy or in France.
Right.
So this is something that will be a driving factor with AI hub being now developed in Hyderabad, Bangalore. As you can see that the startups hub is in Bangalore. So for sure, this will be a big driving factor for India.
Okay. So the other point, maybe in interest of time, you also had this very nice slide where you listed the top 5, I think, countries or geographic regions which are leading this physical AI. And I saw there is, of course, China, United States, India, and Japan. Yeah, this one. If you look at top 5 country hubs, what was very prominently, let's say, curious for me was I do not see a single European nation there. Is it a coincidence or is it just statistics how this was done? What are your thoughts there?
Again, if you see from the European perspective, Switzerland has a big investment in these fields, but the other fields they are not having much resources. Even and this is also one of the reason why you don't see a lot of European countries here is also because they'll have manpower. So that's why they are attracting talents from other parts of the world. Could be China, India, and other places. But for startups, the opportunities that has been provided in USA, in India, it's uncomparable to what we
Is
have.
it because also of the guardrails which are put in Europe when it comes to AI that also somehow is
Yes.
a deterrent?
Because of the GDPR and the
Yes.
other laws that are existing in Europe.
Yeah.
For example, for our startup, we had to do something where we had to use a camera for capturing some video, but it was not allowed because in Europe you cannot
do that. Yes.
In India and in US,
In China.
Yeah. It doesn't come into picture. So, but with EU AI Act, which will be incorporated and which they are focusing on, we'll have to find out ways how this can boom in Europe.
Right. Any final thoughts before we wrap up today's session?
The thing is, the last thought that I will always have is learn, try to upskill yourself, and you will definitely like this journey of understanding AI and robots.
Now that you might be even moving back to Luxembourg, would it be okay if our alumni and if our Vidyapit members reach out to you for guidance, for wisdom, for maybe even potential to work in your fantastic startup?
Always. We have 2 positions now in startup for whom we are actually trying to recruit people.
Okay.
So if
great. So I hope you have got the message. So you know where to keep your eyes on. So thank you everyone for joining. Bethesda, maybe you would like to conclude and great to have you all. In case you didn't make it in person or virtually today, so make sure to catch up this video. I think this is one of these videos and sessions which will be with us for a long time, couple of decades for sure. So good luck and best wishes from all of us here.
Thank you very much, Dr. Atal Anil Kumar and our own alum Anupam. It's very fascinating session, and particularly as Anupam said, to the professionals or the students who are really interested to make a career, in robotics or AI, or simply for passion. They would like to see this video. If you have not, this will be posted on our website and will be circulated. And also, as Dr. Atal said, if you can reach out to him if you have any queries or any follow-up, or you just want to discuss this topic. Personally, I've been in touch with Atal, who I met in a restaurant in Luxembourg in 2020. And I've been following his journey, academic journey and career. And I find him very helpful. And in future, please reach out to me or him directly if you have any questions. So, to just before I end, I thank Dr. Anil, Dr. Atal Anil Kumar, and to our own Anupam for this fascinating session. Thanks to all the audience who sat here patiently listening and enjoying the session. And I wish you a good weekend. Take care of yourself. Bye bye.